I hope we are keeping you warm enough here in Dallas.
Yeah.
Rahulji, first of all, again, congratulations on becoming the leader of opposition. A few of my students came to me and they asked one simple question. It's like, what does his day-to-day as the leader of opposition look like? So can you tell them what exactly do you do in that role?
Yeah, first, thank you very much for coming here. It's an honor for me to come, and lovely to see so many people from back home, so many students. See, opposition, at its heart, is the voice of people. So, if you have parliament, of course, there's a whole sequence of events that go on, but what you're generally thinking about is where and how can I raise issues of the people of India. And you're thinking from a individual perspective, and you're also thinking from a group perspective, you're thinking from a industry perspective, you're thinking from a farmer perspective, and the important thing is that you do it sensitively and after listening and understanding carefully. So very often, you see an issue in the beginning. When you're new to politics, you see an issue and you're like, oh, that's what the issue is. But when you go into a little bit of detail, you realize that there is nuance and complexity. So understanding that nuance and then planning your day according to that, that's how it generally works. Parliament, of course, you go there in the morning and then it's like a war. You go in and then you fight. It's a pleasant war. It's reasonably fun at times. It can get nasty also, but it's a war of ideas, war of words, and we are trying to put our point of view across, and the government is trying to suppress our point of view. So that's how that works. And then there are a lot of people who come and see you, different types of people, party people, business people, farmers, these type of delegations. So you're constantly listening to what they're saying.
So you just mentioned that you look at issues in a certain way. Frankly, now thinking about your career as a politician, the first time you got elected and this time, has there been a change in the way you look at these issues and your mind thinks differently about how to go about them?
Quite differently. Now I'm coming to the conclusion that listening is much more important than speaking, right? And listening doesn't just mean that I come there and I listen to you. That's not listening. That somebody you're talking to me and I'm looking at you and I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not listening. Listening is a completely different thing. Listening is putting myself in your position. So if you're a farmer, going into the person's life, going into the person's day-to-day life, and then understanding what he's trying to tell you. So listening is fundamental. And then understanding the deeper dynamics. So you then are not just swimming around on the surface, you're raising fundamental issues, and you don't go raising every single issue. You focus clearly and you're like, okay, this is important, I got to raise this. This is something important, I got to fight for this. This is something important, I got to fight. So you choose your battles much more carefully.
I think you hit it on the head, that prioritization.
So, very good definition of political strategy or business strategy. understand clearly what you don't want to do. So don't sit there doing 50, 100 different things. Understand clearly जो नहीं करना है उसको पहले समझो, परे कर दो. And then उसमें से 3-4 चीजें निकलेंगी, and then that's what you got to focus on.
Well, I think back to the students, that's what we talk about. So this time you're hearing from Mr. Gandhi himself about prioritization. Now, a few things that you mentioned just takes me back a few months. A very unprecedented event happened in terms of the yatra. Personally, for me, a 30-minute walk on the treadmill, you can see 4,000 kilometers and connecting with people in a very different way. How has that changed your perception about people, and how has it helped you connect with people differently?
See, the first question to ask is why were we walking 4,000 kilometers? Right? You know, it's what created the need for us to do this? And the reason is that all avenues of communication in India were shut. Every single avenue, no matter what we did, it was all shut. We spoke in Parliament, that's not televised. We go to the media, they don't pick up what we say. We even go with documents to the legal system, nothing happens. So, all our avenues were shut. And for a long time, we literally couldn't understand how to communicate. And then suddenly we hit upon the idea कि भाई अगर मीडिया आपको लोगों के पास नहीं ले जा रहा, इंस्टीट्यूशनल सिस्टम आपको लोगों के पास नहीं ले जा रहा, तो फिर डायरेक्टली चले जाओ. And then what better way to go directly than to literally go walking across the country? And so that's what we did. And I must tell you, I had in the beginning itself, I had a little bit of a knee problem. So 3-4 days into it, I was like, "Ye kya kar diya?" I was like, you know, because you get up in the morning, I go running, and so you get up in the morning and you say, "Okay, I'm going to go run 10 kilometers," and they're like, "Theek hai." And then you get up in the morning and you say, "I got to walk 4,000." It's a completely different paradigm, you know. So there was moments of that, okay, this is quite a big thing. But it went surprisingly easy. It was not difficult at all. And it fundamentally changed the way I think about my work. I would say that it completely changed how I view politics, how I view our people, how I communicate with our people, how I listen to people, and not just me. There were many people involved in the yatra, and all of us. And to me, the most powerful thing that happened organically, on its own, we didn't actually do it, it just happened, was that we introduced, certainly for the first time in India, possibly for the first time in many, many countries, the idea of